I was opening an email from our company accountant when the attachment made my hands stop moving. The subject line read, "Ownership Update Confirmation." I didn't remember requesting any ownership update. I downloaded the file. The document listed the current owners of our family manufacturing company. My brother's name appeared first, then the percentage. 100%. My name wasn't listed anywhere. I've heard a lot of family revenge stories over the years. I never expected to be living one. For a second, I assumed I had opened the wrong file. Then I saw the company name again. The same one our parents built 30 years earlier. The same company my father transferred to us when he retired. My stomach dropped hard enough that I had to sit down. I opened the attachment again and zoomed in. Owner, my brother. Ownership share, 100%. 5 years earlier, my father had signed a transfer agreement. 50% to my brother, 50% to me. Equal partners. I remembered the meeting with the lawyer. I remembered the ownership certificates. I remembered my father repeating the rule twice. Neither of you can push the other out. So seeing my name disappear from the ownership filing made no sense. The company wasn't enormous, but it was steady. 20 employees, 2 warehouses, commercial manufacturing contracts that paid on schedule. My brother handled daily operations at the shop. I handled finances and vendor contracts. 3 months earlier, my husband had accepted a temporary overseas project. I went with him. Before I left, my brother said he'd keep things running. That wasn't unusual. We'd worked that way for years. I refreshed the email, downloaded the attachment again. The document didn't change, so I logged into the company bank account. The balance looked normal at first. Payroll had cleared. Vendor payments were current. But one transaction stood out immediately. $180,000 transferred from the operating account. Destination, executive management account. We didn't have an executive account. I clicked the transaction. Authorized by my brother. 2 weeks earlier. I checked the timestamp again. Then again. Then I took a screenshot. Our company had always used 2 accounts, operating and tax reserve. Nothing else. I opened the bank's document center. A new PDF appeared in the list. Account authorization form. Primary controller, my brother. Secondary authorization field, blank. I leaned back in the chair and stared at the screen. The ownership amendment had been filed the same week the money moved. I reopened the filing confirmation and checked the document properties. Created, 11:42 p.m. Submitted electronically by my brother. That's when I opened the state business registry and typed in the company name. Managing owner, my brother. Ownership, 100%. I refreshed the page twice. Nothing changed. I opened the digital folder where I stored company records, tax returns, vendor agreements, equipment leases. Buried near the bottom was a document I hadn't opened in years. Ownership transfer agreement, dad retirement. The agreement showed exactly what I remembered. My father transferring the company to both of us. 50% each. All 3 signatures present and witnessed. But attached behind it was a page I hadn't focused on before. Operational control clause. I read it slowly. If one owner was absent from daily operations for more than 90 days, the other owner could assume temporary operational control, not ownership. Operational control. I checked my travel calendar. I had been away 86 days. Close, but still under the threshold. And even if it had applied, it didn't remove ownership. So how had my name disappeared from the registry? I went back to the amendment filing. That's when I noticed it referenced another document. Member authorization statement. I searched the bank's document center. There it was, submitted the same night as the amendment. The form stated both owners had approved the change. I scrolled to the signature block. My brother's signature appeared first, then mine. Except it wasn't mine. It looked similar, but not identical. I zoomed in on the digital timestamp. Submitted at 11:39 p.m., 3 minutes before the amendment filing. Then I checked the IP address on the submission log. It came from the warehouse office network, not from me. I was overseas. I started saving everything. Screenshots, PDF copies, submission logs, bank transactions. Then I refreshed the account page. Another transfer had processed that morning. $40,000. Same executive account. Authorized by my brother. He thought I was gone. He thought I wouldn't notice. He thought the paperwork would hold. Then I opened the original ownership agreement one more time, and halfway through page 4, I found the clause my brother must have overlooked entirely. Ownership shares could not be altered unless both owners verified the change through the original transfer trust. The trust still existed. My father had insisted on it. It held the company certificates, which meant the state filing didn't actually change ownership. It only claimed it had. I opened the trust document. 2 names, my brother and me, equal shares. That's when everything settled into place. They filed the amendment. They moved the money. They rewrote the registry. But they forgot the trust. And I was still a beneficiary of it. I called the lawyer who had handled my father's retirement paperwork. Then I emailed him everything. The trust agreement, the amendment filing, the bank transfers, the forged authorization form. 2 hours later, he called back. His voice stayed calm. The trust still controls ownership. The amendment doesn't override it. He outlined 3 steps. Ownership verification through the trust, a correction filing with the state registry, an emergency freeze on the executive account. We filed everything that afternoon. The bank responded first. Both company accounts were locked pending ownership verification. The $40,000 transfer reversed automatically. The $180,000 remained frozen. 3 days later, the state registry updated. Managing members, my brother, and me. Ownership, 50% each. I never called my brother during any of this. There wasn't much to say. He called me instead, twice the following week. The first call went to voicemail. The second lasted less than 30 seconds. He asked why the company accounts were locked. I told him the trust had confirmed ownership. Then I emailed him the updated registry listing. There was a long pause on the line. He didn't argue. He didn't explain. He only said he'd speak to the lawyer. The next morning, the accountant emailed again. Subject line, ownership update confirmation. I opened the attachment. 2 names appeared on the document, my brother and me. Equal ownership. The executive account closed 2 weeks later. The frozen $180,000 returned to the operating account. The company records reverted to the trust structure my father had created 30 years earlier. My father had been very clear about one thing, even before he retired. He built the ownership structure so that even if someone tried to dismantle it quietly, the documents would still be standing. He was right. Sometimes I still check the registry out of habit. The listing hasn't changed. 2 names, 50% each. He assumed that because I was overseas, I wasn't paying attention. He assumed distance meant absence. He forgot that my name was still inside a trust document his filing never even mentioned. I used to think this kind of thing only happened to families who weren't careful with paperwork. Then I started hearing other stories.